Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to show you a few techniques to generate textures that you can later use with the color schemer in Unity. The texturing process will be done in Blender, although I'm sure you can make it in any 3D package. And for this demo I'm going to use this model, the SAP1 Sapper Bot Mark 1 from Quantum, so credit goes to him for the modeling. I just downloaded from BlendSwap and open it in Blender, and this is what I get. I'm going to do a quick cleanup of the scene so I can show you a few things. So for now I'm just deleting things like the lights and camera and also the rig, and then I need to check the kind of modifiers that the model has. So it has the armature, which I can delete, and it has this one which definitely helps the geometry, so I'm going to apply it. Okay. Now the model is already UV unwrapped and the texture is quite nice, although I'm not going to use it. And one problem for us is that some parts are laid on top of each other, and this is good practice for UV unwrapping, but it's not so useful when you're baking especially shadows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all the map and then go to Pack Islands. Ctrl P is the shortcut. And I'm going to make a new image, which I'm going to call SH Bake, because I'm going to bake shadows. And I'd like to make it transparent, but this is not required. So now I have my UVs laid out properly and a new image. So let's bake some shadows. We need a light, so I'm going to add a lamp, a sun, and I'm going to rotate it a little bit so we get some details. We can tweak that later. And then for the model, I'm going to go to its material and I'm going to delete the one it already has and append one which I already created, and I should name to something more meaningful, but you will get a link to it in the description. And I'm going to assign it to the model, so I select the model and just go to that material. The material uses nodes, but under the nodes it's just a Toon shader, white, completely transparent in the ramp, and black for the rest of the part. And I can look at it and, for example, change the size to some value that gives me the kind of shading I'm looking for. Something like that would be nice. And then these nodes, the only thing they do, oh wait, before that, you can see there's a gray area here. That means that the ambient occlusion is on, so I'm going to turn it off so we get only the light influence. And then the nodes, the only thing they do is they paint the shadows in white and make the highlights completely transparent, like so. This is the effect I'm looking for, and I'm going for Toon Shader. You can go for other shaders, but Toon Shader works very good with the color schemer. So right now I'm in the render panel, and down in the bottom you have a bake. I'm going to bake the full render. So there you go. You have some shadows in your geometry, and you can save this image. I'm gonna save it right there. Okay, now another thing we can do is make a new image. Let's call it AO Bake, and let's go into texture, out of edit mode, and simply delete the material and also delete the light. There you go. So completely black model, but we're going to turn on the ambient occlusion to a factor of 0.9 and add blend mode. If we look at it in render mode, it should look like that, which gives you a notion of the geometry just by how light interacts with the environment and the model. Let's bake it in this new texture. So there you go, very beautiful bake. So I'm gonna save as image, and now we can do something else. For example, let's make a new image, which I'm gonna call color 1. Okay, now let me go into solid mode and go into the edit mode. Now, when I enter edit mode, they're back into AO bake because that's where the vertexes were assigned, and this is okay. Now, deselect everything with A and select some parts of the model that you would like to color in a particular tone you choose. Let me do this quickly. I'm just choosing some vertexes on the model. Nothing fancy here. Something like this, and maybe, yeah, that's good. Now with this selected, I will go to my new color 1 and I will simply make a new material, which I'm going to make completely intense and completely white and shadeless. And now I'm going to bake this. So now look at the color 1. This is the image we want, so I'm going to save it as an image. But be careful, because the rest of the vertexes were assigned to a different texture. Let me show you. Oh, there we go, to the AO bake. And part of the information could have been baked to this one. So you need to image, reload image, and there you have your AO bake. This is important because if you don't do it properly, you could end up overriding your previous work, so watch out. Let's do one more. Let's simply go into the panel, make this completely black, and let's make a new image. Let's call this hand painted. Okay, and now let's assign it also to the material. So I'm going to make a new texture, and I'm going to make instead of clouds, image or movie, and here I'm going to look for hand painted. Yep, everything else should be fine, except maybe I have to give it a UV coordinate. There we go. If everything is fine, and I hope it is, I should be able to come into the texture paint mode and paint textures on top. So for example, I can do something like this. Remember, only black and white for the Toon look. So I'm gonna make something like this. I'm picturing sort of like a spider or something. I'm not gonna make anything fancy. You should spend some time doing this properly. Right now I'm just painting some lines a bit randomly, and then we just image, save as image, and paint it. Okay, now I'm going to export this. I'm going to file, save my file as not here, but in my folder where everything else is, and I'm going to save it like this, so that in Unity I can just import the folder and it will contain everything I need. Okay, see you in Unity in a moment. Bye. So I imported the model and the textures we generated into Unity, and now I'm ready to use the color schemer. So I'm gonna pick my shader, and for this example I'm gonna use the color schemer Toon Shader, and let me change the specular value like that. And now I'm gonna assign the ambient occlusion first. Since the ambient occlusion it's gray values, it means that most of the area is covered by it in different degrees. Therefore, this blue color, it's covering most of the model. Still, where there's a lot of ambient occlusion, you can see this red color coming out. And using high contrasting colors like this makes for a very nice effect with the ambient occlusion bake. Then I'm gonna map my soft shadows, just like that. Maybe multiply them a little bit less. Okay. Then I'm gonna put one of the colors we created, and finally what I call hand painted. So you see that from having a very flat, good looking tank to having a very detailed and expressive one, it's very simple, and creating the textures is relatively a simple and fun task to do. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and see you later. Bye.